I'm going to talk about some of our own priorities, some of our own ways of working, and focus that down towards the gender duty as I go on, and hopefully you'll be able to see how that relates to the work that you're all trying to do as well. We describe our role as being an enabler, persuader, and enforcer. That is, we help people to do what they're trying to do by giving them information that they may need, by giving them advice, guidance. We're a persuader. We need to make the case for arguments that we're advancing. We need to be convincing in when we try and persuade people of a point of view. And we have an enforcement role. We have unique legal powers, which we do and we will continue to make use of. And I'll explain some more about how we approach that. Some of the things that are on our priority list at the moment are, no surprise here, the Equality Bill. I'll speak a little bit more about that. Our own helpline, casework and transfer of expertise. So where other agencies are advice-giving agencies, we want to make sure that they're giving the same advice that we would give in any circumstance. We have a tranche of public sector duty work, which I'll speak a little bit about. We have a major project which we're hosting for the Scottish Government, which is the Independent Living in Scotland project, which is about enabling disabled people to have autonomy and control over their own lives, and is working to both to build a grassroots movement and also to influence Scottish Government policy. We have a major piece of employment work which is branded as Working Better, which is basically about talking about increased flexibility for employers, and we are bringing that forward in discrete pieces of work such as older workers, disabled workers, families, and so on. But basically the whole theme is about being able to get more from your workforce if you do not take the one-size-fits-all kind of approach to your employees. The phrase persistent inequalities you recognise from the national outcomes. We're doing some work to try and define that a bit further. What are the persistent inequalities that we're talking about here? So working with different stakeholders to try and evolve that phrase a bit further. And we think we have a role in stimulating and contributing to debates. Debates on, so far, prostitution, national identity, the end-of-life debate. The next thing that we're organising in this area is a joint conference with Rape Crisis at the end of March, looking at the possibility of independent legal representation for complainers of rape as a way to address Scotland's worryingly low rape conviction rates. As Yvonne has mentioned, the public sector equality general duty is coming in 2010 and will require public bodies to eliminate discrimination, harassment, victimisation and other prohibited conduct under the Act, to advance equality of opportunity and to foster good relations between different groups. The bill's towards the end of the Lord's stage, and it's expected to achieve royal assent within the lifetime of this Parliament before the general election. It has a theme of progressive achievement. The phrase of fostering there, you can see, has a kind of progressive dimension to it. So a sense of development over time. And you'll be familiar with the idea of the socio-economic duty and of ideas such as the strengthened positive action provisions within the bill at the moment. What this means is we will have a single general duty in force during 2010. As Yvonne mentioned, the Scottish Government consultation on specific duties is just concluded. We don't know what the shape of those will be, but it's important to recognise that they will be Scotland-specific duties. So they may well be different in Scotland from elsewhere in Great Britain. We expect the specific duties, whatever they look like, to be enforced from April 2011, and we expect to know the concepts behind these from around June. And the Equality Bill will address the 7 what we're describing as protected characteristics now. our own response to the specific duties consultation, I'll just spend a few moments on, because it is relevant to our more general thinking about the duties and how we would like public bodies to address these. And basically it goes back to the phrase Yvonne used about the difference between activity and the difference that you're making. So what we have here is working from evidence towards outcomes through defined actions and monitoring your own progress, with involvement and equality impact assessment being at the core of this series of actions. I'll just take you through an example so you can understand this. There's an example from a Scottish university where they surveyed their staff and students about the gender duty as to what they thought the priorities for action should be in the university. And it came through quite clearly that there was a sexual harassment problem, especially in some of the satellite campuses. So the university set itself an objective of reducing incidences of sexual harassment, and to do this set out a number of actions, including reviewing for fitness its existing policies before renewing communication of these, renewing training around them, and putting into place new initiatives such as workplace contacts and so on. What they saw in terms of outcomes was they saw an initial spike in the number of reported cases, followed by a falling off, a reduction over time. And by monitoring and reporting on progress, they saw that there was an increased confidence in reporting and increased confidence in the system, and that would take them back over time to possibly running a survey, choosing to run a survey again to decide what the next priorities for activity should be. But this is about outcomes. This is about deciding your own priorities based on the evidence that you have in front of you, and we would expect different public bodies to be coming up with different priorities based on their own evidence. But as a model of how we think the duties should work, this tries to capture our thinking at the moment.